like to call to order the Alexander County Board of Commissioners meeting for the October 16th meeting. The invocation this evening will be given by Commissioner Ronnie Reese, and I myself will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Would all stand?
I'll pray. Lord, we come to you today, and Lord, thank you for all the blessings you've given to us. Lord, pray for all the things that are going on across our land. Pray especially for Israel, for that part of our nation and world, that you'd give peace, and Lord, just give the leaders wisdom to make wise decisions there. Help us tonight as we go with this meeting. Give us wisdom that we make decisions that move Alexander County forward. Thank you for each person that come out tonight. Give them a safe journey back to their home. Pray for all our emergency services, fire, rescue, sheriff's department, police, highway patrol. Help them as they protect us each day. Thank you for all that you do for us. In your name I pray. Amen. Amen.
If you would direct your attention to the flag. And hang on just a second. We have Boy Scouts with us. How about you send one of your members up here to lead us in the pledge?
Yeah, send all of them.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Yeah, send them all.
Bring them all up.
Yeah, that's right.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, fellas.
Thank you, guys. The chairman got out of that, didn't he?
They were not planning on that, so we appreciate it. I do want to recognize that we do have Boy Scouts here, Troop 275 from Bethlehem tonight, or this evening. We do appreciate your attendance, and I think they're in attendance to maybe merit or badge, some training or whatnot, or observance. So thank you for being here. Commissioners report, does any commissioner have anything?
Mr. Chairman, this past week, the sister cities met together over in Hickory at the Western Piedmont Council of Governments. And there was a group from Ottenberg, Germany that was here. There was about 14 of them. There was 3 students that were music students. They performed there, and also they performed Saturday at the Oktoberfest there in Hickory. It's a very interesting meeting with all those folks. And learned a lot about them, and they learned a lot about us. I met with them on Wednesday and Thursday. And then our David Eisenhower from Economic Development, he was there and gave a presentation about Alexander County. And then I believe it was Mr. Fox, I believe it was, with our Emergency Services Department. He was there and gave a presentation. And then on Friday, they came over and visited Alexander County and visited our Alexander County Rescue Squad. They had visited several different places in their emergency services that were operated by full-time staff, but that was the first place that they got to had the opportunity to visit the rescue squad, since it's totally all volunteer. And they got a lot of good information from the rescue squad and had a great meeting. And then we had dinner Saturday night, and those folks flew back out on Sunday. But it's a good meeting, and I think there's a group from our area that's going to maybe go over next year to Germany, and have a go over there and see what they do and how they do their things there. So it's a great visit and very educational, and I'd like to thank the county for what they did, because our county gave $400 to help for some meals to take care of them and everything. Of course, the other cities, Hickory and Catawba County, and some of them, they also pitched in. So thank the county for doing that, and it was a very good event.
Any other commissioner? I do want to report that I asked our county manager today to find out if he could, kind of where we stood at, because we don't want to forget about our facility closure at Mitchell Gold, Bob Williams plant earlier. I think Mr. Fox stated that we were down to about 80 to 90 folks that are still signing up or whatnot. So take this time to let those folks know that if you are looking for a job and want a job, feel free to contact us, because we will push you in the right directions for what you're looking for, if at all possible. So just wanted to throw that out there to the public. If everyone's done on Commissioner's report, adoption of agenda, you've had a chance to look through it. Do I have a motion that we approve?
Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor, right hand? Unanimous. Public comment, do we have anybody? No one signed up. We have a public hearing, it's approval of road names. And we are doing some electronic stuff today, so bear with me a second. So we'd like to open, one public hearing for this, right? Open public hearing for change of road names.
Make a motion to open public hearing for road names.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor? Go ahead, Mr. Fox.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. Our public hearing is related to two requests for road names. Staff requests the approval of the following road names as listed within your agenda packet. The names meet regulations as required, and the names have been checked for duplication, sound indexing, etc. First road number is 1166 YS. Road name is proposed as Daisy Lane. Location is off William McLeod Road. The second is 3718 BC. And road name proposed is Eastfield Lane, which is off OE Tig Drive, or Road as well. So be glad to try to answer any questions for you if you have any.
Anybody got anything? No questions, sir. Make a motion, we close public hearing. Or wait a minute, does anyone in the audience have any concerns, questions to this hearing? If not, do I have a motion to close public hearing?
Motion to close public hearing for road names.
Second.
All in favor? Do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the road names as written. and presented.
Second.
We've got a second. All in favor? Unanimous. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll call up County Attorney Ben Falconberry to give our nonprofit organization funding policy.
Good evening, Chairman Pennell, Vice Chairman Lael, and the board. Tonight, I present to you three documents that are included in your agenda packet, the first of which is a nonprofit organization funding policy. The second is an application to be provided to nonprofit entities for funding. And the third is a sample contract that must be entered upon approval of the funding to an organization by the Board of Commissioners. The purpose of this policy is multifold. The first being to promote partnerships between the county and organizations whose missions and goals are aligned. That being to improve the overall well-being of the citizens of Alexander County through dedicated services and advocacy. It also ensures accountability and transparency of the use of public funds and allows a fair process for submitting, reviewing, and approving requests for funding by nonprofit entities. It also allows proper vetting of the use of funding by entities to those that the county has been authorized to do by law. As you well know, in North Carolina, local government units have broad authority to appropriate monies to private entities, including nonprofits, corporations, associations, and individuals. The monies, however, must be expended by the private entities only on projects, services, or activities that the local government could have supported directly. And Alexander County, as a local government, is limited to the expenditure of public funds for only obligations that are for, number one, a public purpose. Number two, the activity funded by the county has, we have statutory authority to engage in. And number three, the expenditure is consistent with state and federal law. The second document is the application itself. Applications should detail the programs and services provided by the private entity. Specifically, it should detail the benefit to the public at large and to the citizens of Alexander County. It is necessary for applicants to provide a brief financial snapshot in that application of the organization itself. And organizations with a strong financial history and an objective of showing the ability to exercise fiduciary duties and responsibility over public funds should be highly favored. Applications will be scored and ranked and presented to the Board of Commissioners through the annual budget process and by Mr. Fox's budget recommendations, which shall also include recommendations for funding of certain applicants and the exact proposed amount of funding. The policy requires that this process be renewed yearly. Previous funding will not guarantee future funding. It is also important to point out that each entity must provide, upon request, certain information, specifically any tax returns, financial statements, or even an annual audit, depending on the amount of funding that is approved. And this is to provide details about the amount of public funds received and how those funds were used. The county may also require an organization to appear before the board at a regularly scheduled board meeting to provide information and updates on how those funds are used and how the organization has benefited the community. The final document that's before you is an attachment to the policy, and that is a contract that spells out these obligations of not only the private organizations, the nonprofit organizations, but also the county. Guidance from the School of Government is clear that these contracts are necessary between local governments and entities that receive public funding and are important to lay out those obligations. The School of Government also highly encourages counties to adopt and apply written policies for nonprofit funding. The contract is malleable. It can be changed based on certain circumstances. Again, this is a bare bones contract. It's a sample contract. It's a draft contract that would be provided to these entities in order to give them some idea of what their obligations will be if they are approved for funding. Organizations approved for funding must certify and acknowledge that failure to comply with this policy may result in suspension of funding or possibly reimbursement of funds already received. With that all being said, I respectfully request the board to adopt the policy and procedures as presented and with implementation of the application process to begin in the spring. Applications, if adopted, if the policy is adopted either tonight or in short order, applications will be due February 28th, I believe, last week of February of 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The board has had a chance to review this nonprofit organization funding policy. Any questions or concerns or pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the item as presented, effective for the upcoming 24-25 fiscal year.
Second. Any other questions or concerns?
So we haven't had this before, correct?
We have.
Not to this.
We have complied with the requirements before. This is just a more updated, it's a written policy that we haven't had in place, but we have taken applications
So
before.
everybody's got the same information.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's to educate as much as it is anything.
All right, all right, thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Take a vote. All that approve, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll call on Alan Fitzpatrick for the Open Broadband Wireless Internet Expansion Project Summary.
Good evening. Alan Fitzpatrick, co-founder of Open Broadband. It's been a little while since I had the opportunity to speak to you, so thanks for the opportunity tonight. I also wanted to recognize Leslie and James and Chris from the Open Broadband team sitting just in front of the Scouts tonight. So I wanted to give you an update on the fixed wireless broadband project in basically two areas. First is a project status report and update so you can see what was achieved with this project. But this is something we don't view as ending. Just because the funding for the project has completed, we're going to continue to expand service in the county and offer more internet service to more residents. So I'll tell you a little bit about what's next. So we're never really done. So the goal at the initial part of the project was to do at least 25 megabit speed by 3 megabit speed, which was the FCC definition of broadband. And it was to get that internet service speed out to underserved areas of the county, people that didn't have the option for fast internet before. So I'm pleased to report that that is the minimum speed that we have provided everyone that we've been able to turn up so far. However, you'll see that many customers have actually, many residents have gotten speeds much higher than that. Some of the marks here on the map are off of our Ellendale tower, and so we were getting over 200 megabit speed to a lot of the residents in that area. This week, our installations are averaging over 100 megabit speed for the residents we're turning up. So we're exceeding kind of the original goal of the project speed-wise for internet. And then at the bottom, I also wanted to mention price. So along with getting fast internet, you also want it to be affordable. So our basic price starts at $49 a month. We have a lot of customers on that plan. And there is something called the Affordable Connectivity Program you guys may be familiar with. It has a $30 subsidy from the federal government. So we have customers that are only paying $19 a month for this type of service. So we feel really good about what we've been able to produce. As of last week, we had 417 homes in service, and this map kind of shows you where they are, pretty well spread out across the county. This is continuing to grow, so while this is sort of a project update, I don't want you to think we're done and we're stopping. We're going to continue to turn up more and more customers. We had another resident turn up today, Head Night? Where was the one today? Wasn't midnight, yeah. So, and we have 2 more scheduled for tomorrow. So it's continuing to grow. So this number is going to continue to go up. So it has been a journey, bless you. Obviously a cold day when we were on the Lenny's Mountain Tower for this particular picture. In addition to the homes that we've installed service for, we've also provided free public Wi-Fi, and many churches have partnered with us to offer that outside of the church itself. To give you a little bit of financial snapshot, the project funding for this was $582,000, and that was over the multiple phases of the project. $388,000 was the grants that the county had provided. $194,000 was what Open Broadband did in matching funds. If you add up that money divided by the number of homes, we spend about $1,396 per activated home. For comparison, I noticed that there was a recent announcement that the county had a grant from the state, the CAB grant for Spectrum, to offer service to 150 homes in the northern part of the county, which is great. Love, more residents are going to get service. The price that I saw in the news release was a little over $1 million, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but it ended up being about $7,211 per home for that grant. The reason why I bring this up is fixed wireless internet tends to be a lower cost method of providing internet service than a wired connection. There's nothing wrong with the other grant. It's just that fixed wireless is a lower cost. So basically for the money that the commissioners allotted for this project, there's like 20% of the cost of a cable connection or a fiber connection. So you should feel good about that. Towers and hub sites. So we have been all over the county trying to find the best places for our fixed wireless gear. We'd like to thank the county again for the use of Lenny Mountain Tower, which is sort of our hub for the county and getting internet out. We also are leasing commercial towers in Stony Point and Ellendale, and we've kind of put in our own towers here and there. So the picture you see there is all uphill drive. It was a tower that James spent quite a bit of time putting together, and we're not completely done yet. We're still working on that one. Round Top, we have a homeowner that agreed to let us put antennas on top of Round Top, which has worked out great. We've also done 24 what we call hub locations. So they're chicken coops and churches and different places where we spread out the signal. So we've really built a network here all from scratch in the years that we've been partnering together with you. So internet service isn't just speed. It's about price and affordability. It's also a service business. We have to provide good service to our customers. So we're pleased that this is our Google review score. If you want to go on to Google and verify this for yourself, feel free. 4.7 out of 5 we feel really good about. We can't please all people all the time. You guys probably know that as well as anybody else. But we feel really good about the service we have been able to provide. And we attached a couple of the 5-star reviews that Leslie and James actually got a shout out from some of the residents of the county, which is really nice to hear. So that's what we've achieved so far, but we're not done. There is a continual evolution in technology. So one of the things that we're going to be deploying in Alexander County is technology from Tarana Wireless. It is the fastest fixed wireless technology on the market. These are a couple of pictures from other locations. We're actually going to bring this to Alexander County, but we're getting 400 and 500 megabit speed. So this is, I was proud before that, everything was over 25 meg and 100 megabit service wasn't unusual for us. This is actually going to take us to the next level. So it's technology improvement, technology growth. So the citizens are going to continue to get even better speeds over time. The first place we're going to deploy this is Stony Point. So that's an area that we really want to do more to help the residents there. In addition to the Tarana, there is a new wireless spectrum, 6 gigahertz, that is just coming out. We got an experimental license from the FCC. This is actually a copy of it. Stony Point was one of the areas where we were given an experimental license. This has the capability of doing gigabit speed wireless internet. So we've gone from the 25 megabit speed to 100 megabit speed to 500 to the gigabit. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that there's almost no end to this. As technology continues to improve, just like your laptop or your phone or anything else in electronics, things continue to get better. So the network that you've kind of helped us get started here is going to continue to get better and better. And then the last slide I have is the general availability for the 6 gigahertz is going to be the first quarter of next year. There's been testing already. A sister company of ours called NextLink has already done gigabit with this spectrum. And the Tarana technology is going to combine this wireless spectrum in with their current gear. So that gear that I showed earlier that was doing 500 megabit service is going to add on this gigabit capability. So we feel really good about where the technology is going. And I want to assure you that the county is going to be a beneficiary of that as well. So even though the project is technically over, we're going to continue to make our own investment and continue to roll this out to the residents. So with that, I just wanted to end with a thank you very much for all the support you've given us over the years, and address any questions or concerns you might have.
Just thank you. It's been a while coming, but it looks like it's working out real good, so appreciate what you've done so far.
Thank you.
How's the equipment on Round Top currently? Is it
Currently, it's great. A month ago, it was terrible. So we had some equipment issues there. We had to replace just about everything in the entire home. All the antennas that are up on the artificial chimney, and then we had to replace the switch at the bottom because we were having some intermittent issues. And then,
The reason I ask is I've got 3 citizens in the last 2 days that have sent me text messages saying that their service was fantastic prior to sometime in September. They said something about they were told a lightning strike maybe or something.
we had some damaged equipment.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, but as of yesterday, they were only getting 5 to 6 megabytes per second, where previously they were up around 25 or 30. And said that they'd reached out to your company several times, and they're just not getting any replies back.
Well, we certainly like to address that. If you have their names, we can take them.
I will,
later.
I will forward that over to you after the meeting.
No, we certainly take service seriously. So if somebody's having a problem, we need to address it.
I think you might actually be able to find them because they said they even reached out to the company on your Facebook page and hadn't got the interaction. So just an FYI, if you would, please.
Okay, absolutely. Now, we increased the bandwidth this week to Round Top as well. So it sounds like something didn't quite convert over for them.
Cool.
Other questions, thoughts?
Anybody else got anything? I think
But
we're good.
one question, I mean, just one question I would have. Have you had many customers that were previously with Spectrum or another broadband provider that have switched to you?
So that's a great question. I don't have a number for you. The general areas we were going into
Right,
were.
I know that most of the areas were unserved or absolutely, or at least definitely underserved. Yeah, but I just didn't know,
My hunch is very little. I don't have an exact number for
Right.
you. My hunch is very little. James, do you have any kind of a feel for?
We have had a few come over, mostly from the cost savings.
I was say the cost is what I'm thinking, because,
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know what I pay at my house, and it's more than $49. I mean, it's, I pay over double that per month.
Are you a customer?
I'm a Spectrum customer, because
fix
that's
that.
my option. You know, that's one of the things. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of utility monopolies, but,
That's actually a good benefit. I didn't put this in my slide deck, but whenever there's competition, consumers win, right?
absolutely.
There's choice. Then you can kind of hold us against each other for pricing and service. And if somebody doesn't like our service off of Round Top, they can go somewhere else, or vice versa. You know, somebody can switch to us.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good evening. Up next, we got Budget Ordinance Amendment 7 and 9, be delivered by Shane Fox, County Manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. Tonight, I'm presenting Budget Amendments 7, 8, and 9. 7 and 8 are similar in the regards that, as you know, as of June the 30th, is our magical date that our year comes to an end. July 1st, our new year starts. Anything that wasn't spent or that was intended to be spent that was not spent on June 30th rolls into fund balance. And then if we end up spending that money in the new budget year because of the timing difference between that one day to the next day, we end up presenting a budget amendment to you. So number 7 is exactly that, the first piece. Overall, this is a $31,997 expenditure. Number 1 is $12,931 in supplies in the Sheriff's Department. Again, that was because of supplies that are on back order as of June 30th. They came in after the end of the year into the new year, so we're asking to move that money that rolled into fund balance out of fund balance. Then we're refunding money back into North Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice because of the timing issue as well. And then the same with DSS on 2 different items, Adult Protective Services and a state funding portion that was received in adoption enhancement. Again, those are because of the timing differences from prior fiscal year to current fiscal year. So it is a net increase within the budget, but it was because that same amount rolled into fund balance at the end of the year. Number 8 is a $432 amendment dealing with our emergency telephone system. Again, $432 was rolled into fund balance that is now being asked to come back out and transferred back over to the telephone fund. And then our third and number 9 is within our landfill fund. This is our enterprise fund. This is not general fund or taxpayer fund. This is moving or asking for additional $40,000 to complete the Sugarloaf convenience site. Unfortunately, costs were higher than what we expected. We are looking at 2 different options here to pay for that, one being the sale of surplus equipment that will happen in the near future, and number 2, moving monies from our current capital outlay that we did not expend for the original budget request that we had within the 23-24 budget. Be more than happy to answer any questions on those 3 budget amendments.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve 7, 8, and 9 of budget ordinance amendments.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Thanks, sir. Next, we have Board Clerk Jamie Starnes going to deliver the board committee appointments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We only have one appointment tonight. It's the Library Board of Trustees to appoint Susan Fontaine for 3 years.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor? You have the consent agenda. Any questions or concerns on the consent agenda from any of the commissioners? If not, what's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve consent agenda as given to us in our packets.
Second.
All in favor? Approved. And up next, Shane Fox, deliver county manager's report.
Thank you, Commissioners. Give a few updates tonight. I'll start with mentioning, this has already taken place, but I know we had a press release out. Our Veteran Services did move from the County Administration Building over to the Services Building. That move took place last week. That does allow for Veteran Services to have a much larger space for our veterans to be more comfortable. It does give some room, not only for seating in the interior, but on the outside as well. So it does help with the efficiency and hopefully a more accommodating space for our veterans to be able to utilize our veteran services. So we're appreciative of all the staff that worked to move that department very quickly over during the week before. I'd like to also mention and say thank you to our local folks that represent us in Raleigh, so Senator Settle and Representative Elmore. As you all know, and again, a press release that came out, Alexander County was the recipient of over $10 million in total state appropriations for a various list of items. We'll start with our water line extension, our ARPA water line extension project that we have been working on for the last couple of years that is in the process right now and set to go to bid by the end of the calendar year. Additional $2.5 million for that project, and that will, at this point, plan on going in the Ellendale area, Three Forks Baptist Church area. $100,000 to Alexander County Schools for a field house, $2.5 million for Alexander County Schools for stadium improvements and turf grass at the high school. $750,000 for a newly created Alexander County EMS building. Our plans there is to expand Station 1, be able to house our ambulances in the interior versus the exterior that they are now. That will help reduce cost and wear and tear with batteries and charging, et cetera. Also some additional spaces there for offices and hopefully a training facility as well. $300,000 now is under county-directed grants. Those are yet to be determined. Those go to some various nonprofits within the county. $2.6 million for a Bethlehem water tank. That's another project that is set to go to bid within the next few months. Unfortunately, costs have risen since we originally received the state appropriation amount of about the same a couple years ago, so this will go into addition to that to help hopefully offset the total cost of that project. That will bring a new water tank to Bethlehem that will help with water pressure and overall help with our expansion project that we have within the area. We also have $1.3 million that will go to the court system for an additional district court, additional magistrates, and public defense office, and then $1.5 million going to the town of Taylorsville for sidewalk projects. So over $10 million coming to Alexander County. I'd like to again thank you. Thanks to our local folks in Raleigh, Senator Settle and Representative Elmore for helping us obtain those appropriation dollars that we can utilize moving forward. Overall, I did mention a few projects. Want to give a couple updates beyond the projects I mentioned with the Bethlehem tank and the water expansion project. Our fire training facility, our containers are set to be delivered next week. So grading work has been done and footers are going in, so those containers hopefully will be delivered at some point next week, and we'll see that project moving along. Our chamber building renovation, teachers grant, set to have the second bid opening. We did not receive a bid in the first go-around. Our second bid opening is this coming Wednesday, so we'll have to see what happens with regards to that project, and we'll give you an update whether or not we receive a bid. We're optimistic that we will. Bethlehem Park project is set to go to bid before the holiday season rolls around. We're hoping to have back bids in hand prior to Christmas so we can make some decisions on our Bethlehem expansion park project. And then Bowman Court, as I mentioned earlier with our water line and Bethlehem water tank, should be along the same lines of hoping to have the bid-ready documents to put out there by the end of the calendar year or the very first of the new calendar year for us to put those bids out and have some information back to you all to make some decisions on what that looks like. Overall, want to give an update just on a couple other things that have happened in the county. We did have our Senior Center Spooktacular that took place yesterday. Not yesterday. Yesterday was Friday, sorry. On Friday, we had over 130 individuals that partake in that. We did do something different this year in which we used the Medicare expansion time or enrollment time to utilize opportunity to have a party. So Christy wanted me to pass along those numbers. I did go and attend for a few moments, and it was a full house of games being played and food being eaten. And good news, the majority of the folks that came did have a chance to work with our senior staff in helping them with the enrollment process, which was the purpose behind it. And then I'll end the night, unless you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those with an update on our PORT program that you all approved now a couple months ago. So Shannon Childers is who we put in the position as our first community paramedic within our PORT program. He is making headway, good headway. So he currently has 8 clients. Without giving any details or sharing anything that I shouldn't share, a couple of those are moving towards recovery. One is optimistically, hopefully going to find out within the next couple of days of inpatient treatment. So we're seeing at least the beginnings of some progress there with those 8 clients, and in particular 2 that are moving towards hopefully true recovery. So Shannon's hit the ground running, and we're very appreciative of the work that he's put in and appreciative that Director Sigmund has also put towards that, and again, appreciative of you all for approving that a couple months ago. And I want to give an update that we are believing that we're moving in the right direction with that, and we're optimistic. But be happy to answer any questions you have on this or anything else regarding the county.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Good, thank you.
At this time, we will go into closed session per NCGS 143-318-11, 4, 5, and 6. Economic Development, Contractual, and Personnel. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor? And we will only adjourn to, re-adjourn to adjourn.